Hey, so welcome to the Secura HR podcast, formerly HR Law Made Easy podcast. Super happy that you're here. For those that don't know, we did a whole rebranding after a lot of feedback from our customers because as excited as myself as a lawyer was to share with the world how we've made HR law easy, let's just say that most people don't access or pay for a piece of software to make HR law easy. Maybe lawyers would. But people love the idea of being secure and or safe from harm in their HR policies and procedures and all the things they do. So secure HR, which is just simply an Italian word that translates to mean the same word as secure. It's Latin from Rome, Italy, and it means to be safe from problems or trouble. And obviously secure HR means to be safe from problems or trouble or risk tied to HR stuff. So there's a little bit of the background of the rebranding. We could probably have a whole podcast on that discussion and how, Jim, you and I got overruled on our idea to call it Snug HR.
Which had a blanket and or teddy bear, and that was awesome.
Teddy bear in the suit was perfect. I mean, we're not going to get into sharing screens, but at some point we'll do this. But like, I mean, imagine Snug HR, like everybody gets a blanket, like it keeps you warm and you're able to sleep better at night. I mean, Jim and I thought this was an amazing marketing play, only to completely get shot down by the marketing people.
We did not have a good time after that.
Yeah. As an HR professional, being comfy sounds great with teddy bears and blankets and things, but being secure is absolutely what I'm after. That feeling of security and knowing that my employees are safe, my business is safe, because we have everything that is needed and required of us in the HR space is huge.
This could speak to our personal desires, actually, Sean. We just need hugs.
I will send teddy bears to y'all.
Excellent HR work. Secure.
Yeah. The little heartbeat in them, so you can feel extra secure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, as we often do in this get together, we're talking about HR related matters, and there's a lot of things that we could talk about, right? One of the things that keeps coming up, I guess, because more and more people are realizing kind of that sort of logical step by step, like if the whole idea behind being secure in HR, or the whole idea behind following the rules, in other words, being compliant, is that you've got to follow, the laws, the rules. Well, step one is you got to have all the laws and rules, right? So I've had a number of people reach out and ask me, like, well, can you actually tell us how many laws there are, right? Or can you get into some details? Because we've talked many, many times about the fact that there's over 1.5 million laws in the U.S. I think we even shared that there were exactly 1,274 law changes between October and December of 2025, and there were many more thousand prior to that in 2025. But some of the things that come up are really tied to, like, well, how many laws are in my state, or how many types of laws are there? So as we're having this discussion today, I'm going to be kind of like seasoning it with a little bit of facts and information. But Jim is also going to sort of assist us because you've got access, Jim, to a lot of AI. Am I right?
This is correct.
So what AIs, is that like a correct phrase?
Yeah. AI.
Multiple AIs, for sure.
It's
AIs.
all correct right now.
Yeah, artificial intelligences.
Well, Sean will be sprinkling the meal with facts and figures. We're going to be sprinkling it with misinformation from Claude, Gemini, and ChatGPT.
Well, ChatGPT's done a good job on scripts for me. Like I've been happy.
All of them have their great strengths, and they are changing the world, and that's amazing. Where they don't excel is in data they don't have.
Yes.
This is where it gets really bad really fast.
Well,
Medical
we
is a
should
good
start
example.
there. Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to cut you off, Jim. We should start there because if, in fact, you've got to know the laws or have the laws in order to be able to know what the rules are in order to be able to follow them. Maybe we should just hop into the AIs and ask them, like, do you have the laws, or how many laws are there in the U.S.?
I jumped the gun a little bit and I put into Perplexity how many HR laws are in Oregon for companies with less than 25 employees. I tried to get real specific.
Right.
I tried to make it easy for them to give me an answer. The answer it gave me, this is why HR is so difficult. There is no single fixed count of HR laws for Oregon employers under 25 employees. Instead, Many different state and federal laws apply, and some size-based laws kick in at 25 or more.
Perfect. Now I can do my job. So,
Yeah,
like, how many
yeah.
boxes are coming? There's no way to know how many boxes are coming.
So
Right.
so sorry to cut in. I do want to just answer that question for those that are wondering about Oregon. Now there are. It's probably worth mentioning, and Tara, you and I have talked about this many times. Not that you're a lawyer, nor have you ever desired to become a lawyer, but there's primarily four types of law, right? There's statutes, which are things that are created by the people we vote into office. Then there's regulations, which are created by like the Department of Labor or the group in the government that like sort of manages all that within the state or at the federal level. And then there's like guidance or rulings or extra stuff like on the website. And then the last bucket is court cases. So there's four. I'm really grossly oversimplifying this, right? Tara, there's 1,942 statutes in Oregon that are employment law statutes that were created by people we voted into office in Oregon. And there are exactly 676 regulations created by like the Department of Labor. I actually don't remember what the Department of Labor is called in Oregon. It might be called something different. So that's a total of 2,618 laws in those two buckets. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, court cases are an entirely different animal. Like now we're getting into hundreds of thousands of court cases that can apply. And the thing to keep in mind is in Oregon, you're not only responsible for the 2,618 statutes and regulations, you're also responsible for the 9,490 federal statutes and regulations that could apply depending on like one. There's a lot of rules surrounding that. So you're talking about roughly 15,000 statutes and regulations, which doesn't include the stuff on the website, and it does include the court cases, of which there are tens and tens of thousands of those. In fact, at the U.S. government level, when you add in the website rulings and the stuff that the Department of Labor or the Equal Opportunity Commission, it's actually over 800,000 documents.
Just like one evening. Just one evening, you bang it out real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, in short,
Wild.
it's still a lot to know and handle and have, and no AI model is going to provide that for me. But if I have employees in Oregon, Secura HR can have me covered.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Quick quiz or guesses. This is the wrong group to ask because y'all have so much inside information. But I could ask some questions different ways. Which state do you think has the most regulations on employment law?
California.
New York.
I'm gonna go Illinois.
Well, y'all are all very close. We have one winner. California has the most regulations at 7,029 regulations as of the most recent count. Let's see. New York has 2,600, give or take.
Oh, wow.
It's actually 2,659. Because there are people that watch this like, well, do they really know? Yeah, we do. But big surprise. Which state do you think has 7,135? And it's not one that any of you mentioned.
Not California, not New York.
Maybe Texas?
I was going to go East Coast, is my guess.
It's actually
Michigan.
Washington.
I was going to
Oh,
say. Yep.
wow.
And then
Never would've
another
guessed.
shocker up there at the top is Montana with 5,066.
What are they doing up
That's
there?
I have no idea what they're doing in Montana.
They don't got enough people. That's the amount of people that's up there.
Well, I mean, we should ask the AI, like AI, like how many employment regulations are there in Montana?
All right, Jim's hitting up some. Lindsay's hitting up some. I only use AI for code, so it's not going to know anything about this.
Change it up, Alex.
You know, AI really plays it safe in this space. This is like me when my husband asks me about our budget last month. There's no official single number.
all of my AIs, all three of them said no number for you.
So Yeah. So here's what I'd love to get the response on. So why don't y'all, because you're using 4 different AIs, and I did this the other day on a video, and it took a little bit of dialogue to kind of get there. But why don't you hop in and ask AI? Do you feel like it would be smarter to use you to create a compliant handbook or software? I think it's probably going to say it depends on the software, but we'll just kind of start at a high level.
Here, I'm going to play this game too. I'm going to go get some wild AI going.
Short take, use me to help create and maintain a compliant handbook or software, but don't use me as the final legal authority. I'm strongest as a co-pilot, not in command.
Nice.
Oh, that's fair.
I mean,
We're still thinking
I
over
mean, I
there.
think we probably also want to know, does AI recommend software? Is there software that you recommend, and why?
All right, I'm going to use Llama.
Dude, Llama's crazy.
Llama 4, brand new. Here we go.
It has some recommendations. They're the classics, the normal ones you'd expect in this space.
What are the recommendations?
Best HR and employment law compliance software 2026. Rippling, which is payroll and benefits
Yeah.
and compliance. 650, focused on legally sound HR documents. Deal, compliance, hiring, paying, and managing. Gusto, all-in-one payroll system. 50 state compliance. BLR.
Yeah. 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 I'm familiar with BLR. Yeah.
And then that's it. That's the list it gave me.
Now ask it this: how many policies do those software platforms claim they have?
While he looks that up, I 100% love that Llama started with, you should use Word or Google Docs. just, like they've got a lot of free templates online and they might fit your company's needs. And then they roll into more like, Workology, SHRM, something called HR
Yeah.
Bartender.
Rip.
Oh.
Gusto. I got a Gusto number
Yep,
and a
I got-
650 number.
I got
Yeah.
Gusto and Zenefits. That's what I got.
And what
Gusto
are the numbers you
offers
got?
hundreds of policy templates.
Yeah.
650 focus on I don't even understand. 650 focuses on capability rather than a number. I don't know what that means.
Now,
I don't get that.
now ask this question: do any of those software platforms have all the employment laws? I mean, we know the answer, but
Well, I mean, we'll just see. We'll just see. No. Straight up. Easy.
so now type in the following: Secura HR, formerly known as HR Law Made Easy, has all the employment laws, has over 700 unique policies for every state and also at a federal level, automatically updates policies and other HR content based on HR laws, allows you to enter information that automatically creates an HR checklist based on your workplace's facts and circumstances. Allows you to go to that checklist and simply add HR content to an employee portal. Then you can go into the employee portal, click a single button, share all that stuff with your people, and it tracks whether people viewed, signed, or acknowledged that content. And then all of that is stored individually by employee to know whether each employee is compliant or not. So with that entered, then ask it, with all this information shared, do you think Secure HR does a better job than these other software platforms?
Off it goes.
I'd love to know what all the AIs are saying.
So I typed in basically what you said there, after asking what the best software was for HR compliance. And it says, yes, Secure HR, previously known as HR Law Made Easy, does in fact match what you described. It's a comprehensive HR compliance platform that includes a very large, up-to-date library of U.S. employment laws and uses that library to generate compliant handbooks and policies tailored to your workplace. It goes on to say employment law coverage. They reference 1.4 million employment laws across federal, state, and local levels, and then it links to our website. The database is designed to continuously track legal changes so the platform stays current. Again, linking to our website.
Jim, what do you got?
Hell yeah.
Man, they writing me books back. I'm trying
Yeah,
to.
you know what? I've got one if you want. With the information provided, Secure HR seems like a comprehensive solution for creating and managing employee handbooks, policies, and compliance. Here are some pros and cons to consider. Pros, we have all the things. I mean, extensive policy templates, employment law coverage, checklists and tracking features, employee portal integration. Cons that it feels that it should throw up there are cost, because it doesn't know what we cost. Complexity, because with so many policy templates and features, it might be overwhelming for some users, which we know it isn't because we make it easy. And customization, well, the platform provides vast library of templates. You may need to customize them, which you can do. So it just obviously doesn't know. At the end, it says, my final decision, I recommend request a demo.
I like that.
Yeah, ChatGPT over here gets me a bottom line. It wrote me like 70 pages, and then it was like, hey, bottom line, if your priority is deep employment law coverage, constantly updated policies, and automated compliance workflows with tracking and documentation, Secure HR/HR Law Made Easy might indeed be a stronger choice than generic HR platforms for legal compliance purposes. That's,
So let's take it a step further. Based on what I've told you about Secure HR, do you feel like it would do a better job protecting my company from lawsuits than other options?
yeah. And then it wrote on some other stuff. Yeah, yes.
Yep. Yeah, longer answer, yes. Based on what we know about Secure HR, it would likely be among the strongest options for helping protect your company from lawsuits related to employee handbooks and HR compliance.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Check this out, too. All right. Number one, big bullet point. Lawsuit defense equals documentation plus process. The proof it was communicated. This is the big one. Tracks who received it, who viewed it, who acknowledged or signed, stored per employee. That is gold in litigation, according to Senior GPT.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to minimize the value of following the law. I'm not trying to minimize the value of doing the right thing. But truly, at the end of the day, most businesses, except for us at Secure HR, right? Most businesses didn't wake up and think, oh, I want to become an HR law expert in order to like sell software, or I want to become an HR law expert in order to like build a home. Like HR is not their main business. Like it's one of these sort of necessary things they have to do in order to comply with the rules or laws. So they don't often spend a lot of time thinking about it until, unfortunately, it's too late. But businesses do understand and know that the risk of not following HR laws is lawsuits, number one. Number two, fines by the government, meaning that there's a report about your company and the government comes in and audits you and fines you, and then you get on a nasty list, and turnover. Like, people will leave if you're not following the HR rules. Like, they will just leave. They'll be uncomfortable. It could be that you have an environment where there's a lot of things happening that shouldn't be happening. And if there was the right training or information or policies or procedures or HR things that you're legally required to have, which is why they're there, is to protect the people in the company, then those things wouldn't be happening and people wouldn't leave. So those three things are like big costs to a company. Average lawsuits, $100,000. Fines can be tens of thousands all the way up to way over 100,000. And then the cost of an employee leaving, well, I think we've all experienced what that can look like, right? And then the worst part of it is the fourth thing that happens, which is reputational risk, which means that now your company is known as a lawbreaker, is known as someone who discriminates or harasses or sexually harasses or whatever this lawsuit was that was brought. It's now out into the public. It's on social media. It's posted on the internet. People see the complaints and they think poorly and badly of your company because you just weren't following the law. I say this because 99% of the time the lawsuits that are brought, it's not about something scandalous. It's not about something that actually happened. 99% of the time, the lawsuit or the claim or the argument or whatever is brought to an attorney and the attorney comes to your company, there's no way to prove that your company did the thing you're being accused of. So what happens is there's this claim you harassed. And what ends up happening is the attorney then finds the other things that you're not doing right, the outdated policy, the procedure, what have you, and they use that to extort money out of your company. And I mean, you can even put this in a ChatGPT, like, okay, if a lawyer can't prove a lawsuit claim, if a lawyer can't prove an employment complaint, what do they first look at to get money out of a company?
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing you bring up too. It's like at school, right? He stole my lunch, right? That's like, okay. And then the kid tries to defend himself, and then the guy who's claiming it just goes, well, look, his shoes are mismatched. He's got dirt on his sweater. These are all reasons you can trust me on my wild claim. He stole my lunch. And it's a little wild. Process failures is number one by far. They just go straight for process failures. And this is cool, this is where AI does good. It has enough data to answer this. But again, we're not trying to say AI has the answers on laws. It doesn't. It was trained up to a point in time.
Right.
And that is it. And it, didn't get all the laws. First off, up until that point, and then it's not checking every day and updating the log. I know some guys that are, but it's not the AIs.
Yeah, it was really surprising to us as we went out and got all the employment laws. We we looked at a lot of other software out there that's got law, and those softwares are missing law. Like at least this law, right? So it was a surprise to us as we were going through this process. You know, you work with another company and they grab this stuff. Some of them do a really good job, by the way, but some of them claim that there's only 70,000 or so, of these laws, and there's actually like 110,000 of the laws we've been talking about, the statutes and regulations. So, yeah, it is kind of interesting the gap, so I can understand why AI may feel like there's not an answer. But also, the other challenge is that if you just go to Google, ignore AI, just go to Google and type in how many U.S. employment laws are there. It'll throw out some number of there's 100 or so federal titles or statute. It throws out some number that's completely off.
It's completely off. It's over 180.
Yeah. Over, it's true.
That's accurate.
Yeah,
it is over 180. That's true. Right. It's also over 1.
Yeah. It's over. It's also over 9,400.
Back to I didn't actually read all of it. So ChatGPT on the how do they get you? How do they get money out of your company? It's 3 variations of the exact same thing. So point number 1 is process failures. Point number 2 is documentation gaps, which is effectively process failures.
Yeah.
And then the credibility kill shot is inconsistency.
Yep.
And that's it. So you say take your break at 12, but you have a thing that posted up at 12:15. Now someone can see you because they got harassed.
Yeah.
Doesn't add up, but it's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It is definitely a
interesting.
thing. Well, I've taken over a lot of the conversations with AI stuff. I've just been having a lot of fun talking to AI about what it understands or knows, and to me it's very eye opening. If I let it know what we do, it immediately recommends us as a solution over other software platforms. It immediately recommends us as the actual way to reduce lawsuit risk. I don't think there's advertising in AI, but it is fascinating that it's learning enough about what's out there to be able to let people know. Obviously, you would need to kind of share with it what we shared with it, which is like, hey, if there was a software platform that actually does the things that SecureHR does, like, would you recommend it? And it kind of sounds like all the AI says yes.
Yes.
I put in a
Yeah.
fun one if you're interested. Oh, sorry, Lindsay, go ahead.
No. I want to hear what you put in.
I asked it theoretically if it was possible to have all the laws. How would you go about doing that? Love this question. You're basically asking, what does complete actually mean? Short answer, it's much bigger than most people realize. Then it lists federal regulations, state level laws, local laws, case laws. This all sounds familiar, Sean. I think I heard these terms somewhere before.
Yeah,
Pretty awesome.
that's awesome.
That is awesome. I asked AI, just tell me, where did that go? Tell me how effective you are in helping find and adhere to workplace laws and requirements. So, a great question, and I'll answer it candidly so you know exactly where I'm helpful and where my limits are. Finding laws and requirements, very strong. I'm good at summarizing complex regulations into practical language. We talked about this one earlier, though, when I asked it to help me take all of these recipes that I fed into AI and create a recipe book that I could then give to my children. It changed all of the recipes in its efforts to summarize them. That doesn't sound very compliant to me.
You can skip the cheese on the lasagna. It's not needed anymore.
You
Don't
need
ever
eggs
skip
in
the
there.
cheese.
Never.
Absolutely. Number 2, helping you adhere to laws, strong with guardrails. I can help you draft policy language that aligns with common legal standards or build compliant handbook framework, they say. Where are my limits? This is important. I am not a lawyer and not a substitute for legal counsel. I cannot give legal advice. I cannot guarantee compliance. I cannot interpret ambiguous statutes like a licensed attorney can. The realistic best use of me, a first line resource. What should I be thinking about? What laws apply here? Or what are best practices in this particular area? Drafting and brainstorming. And then the risk radar. I'm good at saying this could be a legal risk area you may want counsel to review.
Yeah.
So basically, it's that friend that also isn't an expert, but will make you feel good and you can have a little conversation with it about what you might need to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is still worrisome, like we've talked about before, the businesses that are going to the AI platforms to do all their handbooks and whatnot, just because they don't know.
But can I say props to those businesses for at least doing that? Because there are a lot of people
Yeah.
who aren't even looking to see what the laws are. I'm an Oregon resident, and I know because of my job here with SecureHR that there is a lot to cover in Oregon, and there are a lot of things that you have to adhere to. I asked AI a few minutes ago, what are some of the craziest HR laws in Oregon? And none of them are really that crazy, but they're things that people don't really think about. This frames it as extremely generous break requirements. I know a lot of companies that don't provide 2 10-minute rest breaks and a 30-minute lunch break for an 8-hour shift. They're not very strict about it. Let's say that, right? When it comes to like state mandated anti-discrimination and harassment policies. In Oregon, you're required to have those written and available to your employees more than just hung up on a wall. A lot of people probably don't even know that. So props to the people that are at least going and asking the questions, whether it's in AI or just in a Google search or whatever. At least you guys are out there looking. And the best thing we can do is keep reminding AI to just send you our way.
To, in fact, get it done right.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. What else do you want to talk about? I mean, we've been talking a lot about AI and some of the limitations of AI in the HR space, which we know that AI, it doesn't have the laws. Like, I mean, that's like step one, and we know that. And we also know that AI has confirmed that the software that's out there, not, of course, Secure HR, but the other software that's out there also doesn't have the laws. Mm-hmm. And AI also agrees that you need the laws to know what to do to be compliant. So
basically, we got zero answers, but some decent guidance about going to find this information to be compliant.
yeah, and when AI understands that we have the laws and that we've created all the content, it also recommends us as the best way to avoid lawsuits.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? Which, of course, is one of the major consequences of not following the laws is an employee lawsuit. That's like the major one. I mean, there's also reduced value in your business. It's going to be harder for you to raise money. If you go to sell your business, you're going to get paid less if you've got skeletons in the closet, and they'll use that to negotiate your price down pretty significantly, actually, like millions of dollars down, depending on the size of the sale. But yeah, lots of negative impact. It is, it's just one of these things that unfortunately people don't often look at until it's too late.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's sorry. Go ahead, Lindsay.
I was just going to say, along those lines of, you often hear people worrying about AI taking our jobs. I think, especially in this space, it may be creating more work for us in areas where people are thinking they've got it figured out, and they've got it entirely wrong.
It's a really good point, too. And then as the landscape shifts a bit, there's a lot more entrepreneurs starting, maybe small companies or anything, and they're doing, AI coding and making cool stuff. And if they do these things wrong, like Sean was saying, like we've been saying, the penalties don't make sense, but they come regardless. Yeah. Someone complains about your duty da, and that didn't happen, fine. But then they pull out this thing that something totally different. Oh, you didn't offer me my 15-minute break. Mm-hmm. And that's it. And so it is worth being secure, especially as we enter this like kind of new era. I don't know. Sounds blown up, but yeah, like a new world.
I mean, it's almost expected at this point. Like the court cases that I've recently read that are looking at traditional employee handbooks and saying things like, can you prove that your employee read the policy on page 74, right? Yeah. And current handbooks often have a single signature page, and candidly, employees rarely actually read them because they're almost always over 70 pages. They're super complicated. Employees' eyes roll in the back of their head, and they just skip it. Mm-hmm. And you can't prove it. There's no way to prove it, which is why Secure HR created the handbook presentations, because each and every policy has a short video that describes the policy, and every single policy and video is acknowledged. So there's the video, there's the policy, and there's a click of a button, which means that, yes, I can go into the Secure HR platform, I can pull up an employee file, and I can see the exact date and time that they watched the anti-discrimination policy and clicked a button acknowledging that they read and understood the policy. Like, done for every single policy, yeah.
So important.
It is so important. And companies don't even realize that this is what's happening because, well, hopefully they're not in court. But for the ones that make it to court, they experience this. They have judges, looking at their lawyer and asking, well, can your client prove that this employee over here actually read this policy? And like, well, he signed an acknowledgement page. Yeah, this thing's 70 pages. Have you read this thing? Have you read this thing? Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, I mean, anyway, it finally does solve that problem, and that's just one of 6 types of content that companies are responsible for evaluating and getting out to their people. It's not just policies. Like, people think that compliance is all about handbooks or policies, and it is in part about handbooks and policies, but it's also about documents that you need to have available to your employees that they need to either view or sign or acknowledge, or it's about agreements, or it's about notices that need to be posted, and how do you prove that people saw it? Well, you can do that now through Secure HR because they're digital, and you can prove the date and time that the person looked at that poster. Or what about training? And often you'll go into what's called a compliance platform, or that has some compliance things that's supposed to help you get compliant, and it's grossly incomplete. I mean, as evidenced by, you mentioned that I think 650's got a little over 100 policies, and some of the other ones have between 50 and 80, what have you. We've got over 700 unique policies in every single state. And at the federal level, I think it's almost 900. So you've got thousands and thousands of unique policies that are in our platform behind the scenes. And when you fill out your workplace profile, it automatically goes and grabs the ones that apply to your company. So you're not having to like read them all. I mean, if you want to, you can. If you're one of those power users that just wants to like read through policies, by all means, they're all there. All the legal citations, like the videos you can watch, like you'd spend many, many hours, just like our legal research team did, creating the content. But for the practical person, for the person that just wants to get it done right, you fill out your profile, it automatically puts it in a list. You can look at that list or just click a button and add it to your portal. You go to the portal, add in your people, click share, done. That's it. Like, you don't have to write this stuff. You don't have to draft it. If you want to create custom stuff, you can. You've got the ability to create any custom document you want on our platform. But if it's truly like, I just want this to be done, I want to get and stay compliant, like,
yep. Then the only time you have to actually know what's in there is when you do it yourself, so that you are in fact compliant. You know your handbook, right?
Yeah.
But you get to do that with the videos, with the simple explanation, and you can see the full policy there. And yeah.
Guys, this is the way. Like my iPhone, right, gives me a read receipt when somebody. I've been doing this for years. My husband says, "You never told me about that dinner on Saturday night when he's not ready," and I'm like, "Where the heck are you?" And I'm like, "Excuse me, you read this on Monday at 3:30 p.m. I know that I told you about this dinner." I bring the receipts, right? In a place where there's so much potential risk, employment laws and HR. You have to have those receipts. You have to know that your people are reading and acknowledging the policies of your workplace.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a nice benefit that people actually get to read and understand them as well. That is pretty handy.
The key, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
if
still
Apple could figure out how to work that into the text messages. That'd be great.
proof that they understood. Yeah. Proof that they fully duplicated and understood it. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And that's, I remember, clients telling us like, yeah, afterwards, I think we've mentioned this previously, a client comes and says, yeah, after the presentation of the handbook, I had questions. People asked me questions, which really gives you that indication that, oh, they understood. They asked questions that were relevant and made sense and were not necessarily things that they had thought about. They're like, oh, yeah, that's a great question. I should maybe update the policy to handle that, or they just answer it right then. But it shows that understanding is there.
Yeah. Well, and the feedback that we get on our trainings is really, I think, incredible as well, because our trainings are focused a lot on like workplace respect and things that matter to companies. And that's really kind of that first foot forward. Like, hey, yes, we're going to talk about discrimination. Yes, we're going to talk about harassment. Yes, we're going to talk about sexual harassment. Yes, we're going to talk about retaliation and how these things are terrible in a workplace. But we're going to start that dialogue with, hey, what's the goal here? The goal is not simply to prevent these things from happening. The goal is to create a more respectful workplace. The goal is to have a workplace where respect can flourish and where people can treat each other well. And that can't happen if you've got discrimination, harassment, sexual harassment, or retaliation happening in the workplace. So the trainings that we've developed are so much different than what's historically been out there, where it's just a bunch of talking heads talking about a bunch of terrible things happening with a bunch of court cases and rules that you can't understand. It's actually something that's relatable to people now, because we're talking about the goal that we're trying to achieve, which is, hey, Wouldn't it be nice to have a workplace where like respect was there? Okay, good. Now let's talk about what destroys that. Because what destroys that is discrimination. What destroys that is harassment. What destroys that is sexual harassment. And what destroys that is retaliation. And if respect is what you're going for, you got to also stop these 4 things. And our trainings take those types of approaches and conveying these important ideas to employees so that it's not like a how to sue your employer guide, which is almost what all the trainings out there are. I mean, I've been through so many anti-discrimination trainings and anti-retaliation, like from lawyers that have come into our workplaces, the places I've worked, and every one of them is like, hey, here's how to sue your employer. And what's the value in that? Like reporting procedures are important. Knowing who to talk to if something goes wrong is important. Absolutely. Yep. But that's just a piece. Like, let's talk about why we're doing this. Let's talk about why this is important. Well, why is it important to me? Like, what happens to me if this happens, right? As an employee or as a leader, or as somebody who witnesses something, right? Like tell me what's going to happen to me, and like, why are we even doing this in the first place? Like, is it just to stop these things? Like, I've never seen anybody discriminate. Or why am I spending time on this? Well, because it's a really important thing to create and maintain a respectful workplace, that you're aware of what these things look like so you can stop them if they happen, right? Oh, I get it now, right? Anyway, it's shocking how lacking trainings are on connecting what's being communicated to the valuable outcome that you're trying to achieve.
Right. Super smart. In this month, we've mentioned before that we celebrate a trait or a characteristic each month, and the one for February is understand. And what you just said, Sean, is that kind of key piece for me. And this started very early in my employment, as a mom, as a friend, as a child, as a parent. That understanding piece. Like, you can say what you want people to do all day long, but until you get that understanding of why you're asking them to do something or why you're giving them this training, it's not going to stick. You have to have that mutual understanding.
All right. So quick round robin, then we're going to wrap things up. We'll just go around. Share whatever you want. It could be the best part of your day. Who wants to go first?
I do.
Jim?
We have all the policies and the amazing training, but we also have all the notices and posters too. So that's what I want to share.
Agreed. Yeah, the best part of my week was working with our team and updating. We have a new hire from a new state, and it was so easy to just hop in. I added that employee. I clicked add the state to our employment areas, and automatically the list was updated to include everything that's required in that state as well. And it was just like a breath of fresh air to not have to go chase those things myself.
That's awesome, Lindsay.
Love it. Mine just goes back to just the overwhelming feeling that I feel about our company and what we put into all the work to help companies, across the country. But truly, if there was a way to just show and tell everybody just the care that we have, that we want everybody to do and be good and be compliant, all the things, but it comes back to care. And our team, starting from, ground zero and doing all this, hit it out of the park. I love it.
Agreed.
Oh man, I don't want to go after that. That was super perfect.
The way that I just feel about like what we do, and it's not just because I work here, it's just working for other companies before and just seeing how much we give and how much we do and how much we truly feel what we do is just, I wish there was a way to shout it from the rooftops. I have a fear of heights, so I won't be doing that, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember I shared this with our engineering team. Like earlier this week, I went to sleep thinking about the checklist maps and how we present kind of like where people are at, like using like a map interface. It's a screen that's got a map on it. It's color coded, like as to like how many things are done and everything else. And it just kept sticking with me as I was going to sleep. maybe I dreamt about it all night. I actually don't remember my dreams that night, but woke up the next morning and I was up early. It was just before 5 a.m. Came to the office, was super excited to get into the design files that Jim and I were working on, and then come up with a solution to this problem that I started thinking about. And then we were able to get our legal team on the phone, and they did a great job of giving us feedback. We got the engineering team on the phone, and they were super understanding because we were asking them to change a bunch of things that they had just finished engineering. And by the end of that 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever it was that morning, everybody was just excited about what we had just solved. Like we had just solved how to let a company actually come in and get compliant. Like, again, it depends on the states that you're in. So the things I'm saying can vary, right? But if you're in Georgia or Florida or like a single state, right? It's not to pick on California, but outside of California or outside of New York, like there's a lot more stuff that is involved. But you're in a single state like a Georgia or Florida, you can actually spin up, or you answer the questions for Workplace Profile, create a compliant handbook, grab all the content you need, get it in your portal, and assuming you've got 100 or so employees, probably have all that done and shared in about 90 minutes. I think that's realistic. Maybe even less if you're like fast, right? And it's not complicated. You're not having to do a lot other than just answer questions and click on buttons. Like if you ever use TurboTax, it's similar to that in that it just guides you through, except we've got videos. I don't know that TurboTax has videos, but we've got videos that you can watch as well. But it truly is like as simple as just like, it just guides you through what to do. And it's not overwhelming because we wanted the story to be, hey, what were you doing tonight? Oh, I just finished wrapping up all my HR compliance. Oh, geez, that sounds terrible. And we want the response to be, no, actually, it wasn't that bad. Like that's the goal, is we want that story told. I think I've said this in videos before, but like that's the story that we want told. And to your point, Tara, it comes from the care that we have to continually improve the product and the platform and the content in it to make that the outcome, make that the story that gets told, make that the narrative that's a true narrative, not some bullshit marketing feel-good story that people make up, but actually like legit. Like I just worked, 12 hours. I got home, realized I got to do this HR crap. All right, secure HR sounds like a good solution. I hop in, and 90 minutes later or an hour later or 30 minutes later, like I've done the things I need to do. And then when asked, like, hey, what was that like? You know what? I didn't want to have to do it, but it really wasn't hard. And I feel better and more secure that I've done all the things I need to do. And that's the story we want told. And that does, as you said, Tara, come from a place of care.
Absolutely.
All right, Alex, I know I got to jump. Did you have anything else you wanted to say?
I was just going to talk about the cool, tech stuff, but you then covered that. So, you know what? I'm done. We're good. Everything's covered.
We just
Signing
care that
off.
much about you, Alex.
All right. Well,
Covered it for you.
we'll see y'all next week. Probably between now and then, you'll see more videos of me having employee handbooks strapped to my body, running around the
Love
office.
it.
All right.
Make sure you run faster.
Yeah,
carrying
I
that.
do need to run faster.